Henry, first of all, nice to meet you. Thank you for taking your time to be here with me today. How are you?
I'm doing blessed and highly favored. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Andy just spoke very good things about you, so I guess it was time to have you over here. So you're in
Appreciate that.
Oregon right now?
Say that again?
You're in Oregon, right?
Yeah, I live in Central Oregon.
Central. Oh, you live in Central Oregon. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, close to Portland or whereabouts?
It's about 2.5 hours outside of Portland. So I live in, if anyone knows where Bend is, I live in Redmond, which is a little tiny town right outside of Bend.
Oh, yeah. I heard Bend is beautiful. I've never been there. Had the chance.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I love it out here.
That's amazing. How long have you been living in Oregon?
Just since January. So
Oh,
this is how actually I kind of got started in insurance was when we moved up here, took the first job I could find, which was at my practice company, and kind of ball rolled, and here I am.
very good, very good. And so, where were you before Oregon?
California. Grew up in California in the Bay Area.
In the Bay? I was actually living in San Francisco last year.
Oh,
And
love it.
yeah, I moved. I was working for a tech company there, and I got my insurance license while living in the Bay. And as soon as I moved to Denver, I basically got my out of state license and began to work here with Family First Life January 1st. So pretty new to my pretty new business industry to myself as well. Um, what were you doing before life insurance?
A little bit of everything. Um, uh, I would say most of my roles have been tailored towards something to do with kind of administration, marketing, sales. Those are the kind of the big three, and I've kind of carried that skill set from really different industries. Very sales focused role was the first job I ever had was door to door sales for ADT. And that was in high school. I had some other pretty typical high school jobs like, McDonald's and Starbucks. Um, I've worked at, a legal cannabis company for a while. I've worked at a car dealership. I've worked at construction companies. I taught speech and debate for a while. So I've really just been all over the place.
I think that kind of explains a lot. The speech and debate coming in handy right now, and when debating with clients a little bit, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You should definitely do a lesson about it. I actually took a speech and debate class in high school. I'm originally from Argentina,
Mhm.
uh, Henry, but I moved with my family here in like back in 2007, and I only did my senior year of high school here. And one of the classes I had the blast was actually a speech and debate class, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I love it. Me and all my friends, every time we get together, we just debate about random things.
and it's a great thing. I think that's fantastic. We might get into some debates right here, which is great. Uh, so amazing. So Jack of all trades, you mentioned working also for McDonald's and Starbucks as well while in college or just out of high school, something like that. You went to
hmm
college? What was your what,
No college. So that was actually all while I was in high school.
okay.
Um, I mean, technically I went to college, but not really. I was there for most of the semester. Um, I love education. I love learning. And I also just knew that the classroom was not where I was going to be successful. I really like to learn things at my own pace and my own way. And for some, the way that our education system is set up, it meshes really well with the way that they learn and they can thrive in there. And just the way that I process information and then I retain information is not, it doesn't gel well with the American education system. So kind of just started to do my own thing.
That sounds no, that sounds about right. Many people I think went that route. People like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and so on. So I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they did very bad about it. They
Yeah,
didn't
exactly.
do bad. Yeah. So cool, man. So yeah, that. So how did you ended up finding Family First Life? Because you were at the practice company beforehand, and
Yeah.
how do you find it?
So started at the practice company, and about the exact same time that I started there, one of my best friends from high school actually started at Family First. And so we called each other and we were, oh my God, you're doing insurance, I'm doing insurance. We were comparing notes. In my practice company, it was 8.5% commission with a small base starting salary.
Oh,
So I was But when I say small, I mean small. I mean, you're not making up for anything there. So my net was very small. But I didn't know anything about the industry. The opportunity in that practice company was very much to become an agency owner, whereas at that time I was W-2, and so you can work within the company. It was the 300-pound gorilla in the insurance industry. So you could work your way up, and you could own your own agency and hire your own staff and things like that. But it was years of training and prep work for that. And it's not really something that even once you get to the position in that company where you made it, quote unquote, it just didn't seem like something that was good for me. So I started comparing notes with my friend, and he was saying that he had started at 110% commission, which just blew my mind. I did the math on what I issue paid my first month at the practice company and what I paid. It was pretty disastrous. I issue paid in the range of 40,000 my first month at that company, and my pay, including my salary, was somewhere in the range of 2,300. I don't remember the exact numbers.
Wow.
So I knew something was off there when I started doing the numbers. So about end of April, left the practice company, started contracting, sold my first policy with FFL May 25th. And then it's been pretty smooth sailing ever since.
Wow. So you've been with Family First Life since what month again?
May 25th is when I sold the first policy.
4 months.
Yeah, June, July, August. Yeah, so September will be closing my fourth full month.
Wow. So 4 months in and night and day in comparison to the practice company.
Yeah, I mean it's the same workload. It's I'm producing the same. I'm just getting paid, getting compensated very differently. That's it.
That's the difference. Wow. So because of course you have your background in sales and in let's say you mentioned working in cars, right, as well. Was that what you did there, or what were you doing? Yeah.
I very briefly I worked at a dealership. It was a consignment dealership, so it was commission only, and I worked there for about a week. And I had I mean it was very brief. So the way that company paid you was you get $1,000 for every car that you get put on the lot. So I wasn't in charge of sales. I was more like kind of bringing in the cars. And I had a big client who wanted to put 6 cars on the lot. But since I was brand new, my boss had to go out and do all the paperwork. And on the phone, the client was so happy and so excited. And then when my boss came back, the client called me and was like, pissed off and didn't want anything to do with me. And so I really didn't like the fact that my boss could go out and screw up a $6,000 sale for me. So I left.
And that sounds about right, man. Yeah, exactly. Like, especially, and it's interesting, because sometimes other people get on the way of the way that we do things, and we care about, hey, like let's make the best for you as a client, as a customer. And some people just come and see the number, and they see the sale, and that's how most people, I think, they fail when they're trying to provide value or support someone. So where's your background in sales or like this? Because of course you do have your speech and debate background there, which is definitely come in handy, particularly on the phones sometimes. But where does the background come in? Like, did you learn throughout with your practice company a lot? You learned a lot as you came in here with Family First Life these last 4 months. Where does that come in?
So the only job that I would say the only 2 jobs that I've ever had where it was pure, sales focused was the car dealership. And then when I did door-to-door sales for ADT, and ADT was even very short. That was just a summer gig while I was in high school, so 2 months. But outside of that, I mean, I believe that everyone is involved in sales, no matter what job they have. They're not selling a product. They're trying. A teammate. Sorry, I got a call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Just fine. Yeah. You're back in.
Okay, sorry about that. I got a call. Can you hear me now?
It happens. That's totally fine.
Okay, perfect. So maybe you're trying to sell your idea to a colleague, or you're trying to pitch yourself to your boss to get a better raise or whatever. So sales is always something that even if I'm not selling a product, something's getting sold. And so I've kind of just fine-tuned those skills, over the years.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, like yes, like as you mentioned, yeah, sales can definitely translate to pretty much every single transaction that we have every day, with regardless of what it is. Someone wants something or something, and it is what it is. So you had a very good first 4 months with it. You mentioned that you were keeping the same activity that you were having in your previous company, but what you're doing currently, uh, it's a whole different thing because you're getting compensated way better. But coming in here, what did you find in Family First Life in your transitioning with leadership, with the people here around? Uh, how who are your mentors? Like who brought you in, and what are the main things that your main takeaways um, in your first couple of weeks with FFL?
Yeah, so Victor Pribble was the person who introduced me. And so before I had really learned about Family First at all, was right before the Salt Lake City office opened. And he said, well, if you can get there, it was like, 2 days away. If you can get out there, that'd be really cool. You can meet some of the team. So I drove from Oregon to Idaho, which is about an 8-hour drive. And then I linked up with Andy Powlis, who was very generous to let a total stranger in his car for 5 hours. And I got to his house at 4 o'clock in the morning and then hopped in his car and we carpooled together to Salt Lake. And that was really where it all just, it kind of clicked. He was basing everything on the numbers and he was making it just so simple, and none of it sounded easy. The amount of work that he was telling me that he was putting in, by no means was it easy work, but it was very simple. You get the leads, you book the appointments, you visit the homes. It all just made perfect sense to me. And then when I got to Salt Lake, that was just right place, right time. I was fortunate enough to get to hear Sean speak, and one of the first things that I heard him say, and probably my biggest takeaway from that, was like, "Hey, if you guys are here to make friends, like you should go somewhere else." And I was thinking, like, yeah, I got enough friends. I have my core group of friends, and I don't need more friends. What I need right now is a job that pays me really well. So this is great. And so from there, I was hooked.
Wow, that's it's 100% right. But what I love about it though, because it's also like, listen how interesting what you just mentioned. You're not here to make any friends. You're here to work, right?
Hmm.
But a total stranger like Andy brought you in the car on a car ride for about 5 hours, share all the knowledge with you, completely open. You don't know me. We've never met in person before. He recommended I brought you into this episode, and you literally like open up, like say, sure, Pancho, I'll do it, no problem, I'm all in, let's do it. That's the beauty, the culture of Family First Life, that everyone shares with each other their wins, their struggles, their challenges, and everything. So even though you're not here to make friends, you actually, I think that here, in comparing myself, right, with my previous experiences, I've had worked for Apple for about 5 years before this, worked for another tech company after that, and did a couple other gigs. I also done construction and all these little things here.
Hmm.
But the interesting thing is, I'm always been very surprised about how helpful we really are. There's no one person that I have met here that if you don't ask, hey, I need some help with this, how do you do this? That's not willing to share. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was what I didn't hear him say, and what I'm sure he was not trying to say was, we can't be friendly. Everyone's very friendly. We're all very supportive and encouraging and kind. What I heard him say was, we're not here just to make friends.
Correct.
And through hard work, through kind of doing what we need to do as independent contractors and as small business owners, through that we develop friendships. But the primary, your primary focus first and foremost is serving families in your community and building your business. And through that, you meet like-minded individuals that share the same mission, and you can develop a friendship that way. And so yeah, Andy and I have definitely developed a friendship, and it's based on the fact that I know that no matter what, he's going to keep working hard, and I respect the heck out of him for that. And conversely, he knows that he can count on me to pick up my slack.
Oh yeah. No, like I mentioned, I've only heard really good things about you, and then today I joined the team call for a couple hours, and I had the pleasure of listening to you talking with some of your clients as you were booking the appointments, and I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about that particular, Henry, because you were very calm on the phone. I think that your tone was very monotone, very like this is what's going on, not showing any emotions over the phone. I really liked how you did that. But I want you to walk me through a little bit of your mindset before starting the phone calls, and then when people are like picking up the phone and so on, how do you go about the mindset when rejections come in and so on? Because I heard you handle a couple of rejections really well, and I want to know a little bit about how you process them.
Yeah, so I think my mindset on the phones is I'm not calling to ask them permission to book an appointment. I'm calling to basically let you know, like, hey, I'm gonna swing by and we're gonna check this out. What time's gonna work for you? That's the mindset. And if you're not interested, if we go through everything and it just really isn't a good fit for you, that's totally fine. But we're gonna go through the information. That's to me, that's non-negotiable. And because I have that mindset, I still get no's all the time. But I convert a lot more of those on the fences to at least appointments. And every single appointment, you just get the numbers in your favor.
Great, great. So I would like to, if it's okay with you, to role play a little bit. So if you would like to, of course, share a little bit how you go about some scripts. What are the leads that you're calling the most lately? I know you probably call all kind of leads, but what are your leads that you're like, I feel very comfortable calling this particular lead?
So you're absolutely right. I call everything. If it's got a phone number and a name on it, I'll call it. Right now, today, I'm really hammering out aged final expense and aged mortgage protection. I love aged leads. They are my absolute favorite. Because
explain to the person that is watching us right now what is an aged lead and why you choose this and why you love it.
So your standard final expense lead is someone that has filled out a card that says they would like information on final expense and they mail it in. And those cost anywhere from $20 to $40 most of the time. And those are not instantaneous, but those are recent. Somebody mails one in last Wednesday, it's going to show up in my inbox today or yesterday. An aged one is something that's anywhere from 2 to 9 years old. All the ones that I was dialing today were between 6 and 7 years old. So I'm paying $1.50 for them.
$1.50 per lead.
$1.50 per lead. What's crazy too, actually, is I had an aged lead today that the name kind of looked familiar, and I looked it up, and it's a 9-year-old lead, and the name looked familiar. And this was also an instant internet lead that I bought yesterday as well from the same batch. So for 9 years, this person has been looking for final expense insurance and hasn't gotten something. And so I have an appointment booked with her tomorrow, and I'm going to bring both of the leads and be like, hey, you've been waiting for 9 years. We're not waiting any longer. Today's the day.
That is amazing. So some people will be thinking, wow, they're calling leads that are so old. That's your preference, correct? Because you can easily buy leads that are newer leads or 1 month old, 2 months old, 3 months old, if you're looking for something a bit older. But you're saying 6, 7 years old. Like this person, 6, 7 years old, man, I was like, man, I'm trying to do the math. I was 24 years old, 23 years old. You know what I mean? I was thinking, what was I doing when I was doing that? I have no recollection. So some people would be thinking, wow, these people are calling very old leads. It's not all those leads. There's plenty of everything. But why do you love them so much when you're calling them? Because when I call you, when I heard you earlier, you were saying, oh yeah, we got this like a week ago or something like that.
So at that time, I hadn't started dialing the age leads yet. I had some instants that I was dialing through that were brand new. But when I dial my age lead, I pretty much have the exact same word track. Really, the only thing that I change up is, yeah, you sent this in. It looks like it was a pretty long time ago, and I just leave it at that. And then the date is always on the lead. So when I show up in the house, they're like, when was this? I'm not really sure. And I pass the lead card over to them. They look at the date. Oh, this was in 2013, and I was wow, wow. All right, well, anyways, and then just hop right back into it. Like
Looks like the
it
postal service finally figured it out.
exactly, yeah. You know, if I make it a big deal, like, hey, I'm sorry we're 9 years late, then they're gonna make it a big deal. But if it's just like, hey, we're here, you're interested. Oh wow, this is 9 years ago. Well, good thing we're here now. Better late than never. And I just roll right past it. Then I've never had somebody say, well, it's been too long. You need to
Wow.
leave.
So I mean, great, great, great. So I would love to role play a little bit an age lead. Is it age
Mhm.
mortgage or age final expense? What is it?
Mostly mortgage, but just because in my area there's not a lot of aged FEX that pops up, but I run everything.
Awesome. Well, let's do a quick test of like an age mortgage lead that you're calling me. Sound good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Pancho?
Yep.
Hey, this is Henry. I'm just giving you a call from the benefits office over here in Deschutes County. I'm just reaching out. You had sent in a mailer. It was a while back. It was something that you filled out by hand and mailed in. You had requested information on something that pays the mortgage off when you pass away. That's what you were looking for, right?
Yeah, that's. I can't recall just sending that out.
Yeah, it was a while ago, man. I barely remember what I had for breakfast last week, so I can't remember you filling out everything that you send in. But hey, I'm just the underwriter here in Deschutes County. They had finally assigned me to get this information out to you and to see what you might qualify for. When you sent this in, you put your date of birth as January 1st, 52. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's my
Okay,
birthday.
perfect. And then I just saw your name on this card. Is it just you? Are you single, widowed? You got a sugar baby?
I'm actually married.
Married? Okay, perfect. What's your spouse's name?
Uh, Alex.
Perfect. And are you and Alex working full time? Are you retired or disabled?
Oh yeah, we're both working full time.
Okay, perfect. Usually 9 to 5 type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, my job's pretty simple. I just got to basically verify health, make sure nobody's got you strapped to a hospital bed. We'll see what the cheapest ones that are going to be available to you, and then we'll see if this is going to be a good fit. You guys are obviously going to be the judge of that. If what we look at seems like a good fit, we'll send in an application to whatever carrier is going to be the cheapest. And then if what we look at just isn't a good fit for any reason, then we'll do nothing, and that's totally fine. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Can I get like a quote right now though?
I mean, there's like 234 different options, and I got no idea what's going to be the cheapest for you. That's why we're doing the eligibility check.
Oh,
But yeah, we'll definitely make it pretty quick there for you. I got about 13 other appointments that I got to see, so I'm definitely not there to waste your time. Let's see, is there any reason why you and Alex wouldn't be home tomorrow around 6:30?
I think we both should be home by 6:30.
Okay, cool. Do me a favor, grab a pen and paper. I'm just going to get you my contact information, then I'll get you off the line here.
I'm ready.
Cool. So here's my name, here's my number, and then what time did we say again tomorrow?
6:30.
6:30. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I got you down for 6:30. Give me a call if anything comes up. There's no worries at all, but we'll just look at our calendars and find a better time. But that way I don't have to drive all the way out there. And then the address that I had, just to confirm, are you still over on Robert Lane?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is there a gate code or anything
No,
special instructions?
no gates. We're the house in the corner. You should be able to find us as a red roof.
Okay, cool. Well, I drive a little green Prius and I look just like Brad Pitt, so you'll know me when you see me. Give me a call if anything comes up. But then other than that, I'll see you tomorrow at 6:30. Okay.
That sounds really good. Okay, perfect. We'll see you tomorrow, Brad.
All right. Talk soon. um,
That
yeah,
was
and that Brad Pitt line's good too. I didn't come up with that. I heard that some call somewhere. But you'd be
Andrew
surprised
Taylor.
how many
Andrew
people open
Taylor.
the door and they go, "You don't look like Brad Pitt."
Andrew Taylor. That's Andrew Taylor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, it was Andrew Taylor. I heard that one as well. He was amazing.
yeah.
Uh, no, that was very, very solid, Henry. I love how you even, it makes sense how much you're closing now based on how you're setting the appointment in advance because you're already setting the expectation of what's going to happen in the appointment. That I know that you're coming and we're going to go over options. You're going to see, I'm going to see the options. I'm going to make a decision. And if it's not something that fits, it's not going to happen. But you're coming to do this. You make it very clear. I really like the fact how you close the appointment to make it very solidified it. I make sure that you're painting that picture in my mind that you're coming to my place. You describe your green Prius. that you look like Brad Pitt, and all this kind of stuff that you also made me laugh a little bit, thinking like, oh my God, that connection. I think that is great. And even when I send you the rejections, like I can't remember that. I really like the fact that you brought up that, oh, I can't remember what I had for breakfast last week. And that's awesome. I heard you saying that one earlier today on the calls twice, and I figure, man, that's a very solid thing, because you're taking them away from that. Oh yeah, I can, you can relate to me, and I can relate to you. The fact that we both forgot stuff is totally fine. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I try to acknowledge their objections and then roll right over it, because if I go into too much detail, it works against me. And then the other thing too is kind of like why I try to firmly set those appointments is when I first started booking appointments, as the moment that they said, yes, I would ask no more questions, and I would just basically get off the phone as quickly as possible, so that way they didn't have time to change their mind on the phone. And I was booking a lot more appointments at the time, at least. But then I was getting no-showed and showing up to houses without people there. And so I'd much rather, book less appointments and have people be there, rather than, on paper feel like I'm busy and I'm really just pretending that I'm busy, and then I'm just driving around to a bunch of empty houses. And so for a while, my appointment count went down, but my sit rate went way up. And I've gotten to the point now where my sit ratio stays the same, and I'm getting more appointments now because I'm just getting, more consistent with the phones.
Man, that was very solid. One point that I want to bring up now that I'm thinking about it, when you gave the option of the time, you said like, is there any reason why you wouldn't be home tomorrow at 6:30? You gave me one option.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, if they say, oh, 6:30 tomorrow doesn't work, how do you go about that one? Because you're only providing one option, you're not doing the classic that some people are like, are you morning, afternoon, have a gap between this and this time, and give a couple of options. I like the fact that you give one option,
Mm-hmm.
but my question is, how do you usually pivot if they tell you, no, I cannot?
So I try to figure out why. So let's role play that right now. Is there any reason why you wouldn't be home at 6:30 tomorrow?
Yeah, I think actually my wife may be coming in later, like after 6:30 for sure.
Oh, she's just going to be getting off work late?
Most likely, probably. Tomorrow is Friday, so she usually goes for drinks after work with her friends, and God knows when they come back.
Okay. No worries. I honestly don't have anything later on Friday. So what I'll do is I'll just swing by around 11 on Saturday then. Gives her time to wake up in the morning and get some coffee and recover from a Friday night of fun. You want to grab that pen and paper, and then I'll get you my contact information. And then at that point, if they have another objection, 11 a.m., we'll tackle it there. More often than not, though, that first time that I tell them, if they say no to that, usually they're just going to keep saying no. I very rarely have someone that says no, and normally the no is just an objection. They're not actually busy.
Very good. And I know that sometimes the easier appointments generally to book are usually the ones after 4 p.m. or so. When
Mm-hmm.
you get to appointments that are like 11 a.m., do you like change strategy there, Henry? Like depending on the age of the person, if they're like retired, you try to put them in the morning or something like that? Or how do you go about approaching your time based on your schedule?
I honestly don't really plan that out at all in terms of, age or type of lead. The only type of structure that I do into what time of the day they're going is my county's pretty big. So it takes probably to go from the far south side to the north side, it's probably going to take an hour.
Wow.
So I'll put, and that's like no traffic, just coasting. It's a big county. So I'll put next to the name of the person on my list, I'll put what city they live in. So that way I know when I'm booking the next appointment, I'm not booking them an hour apart with 15 minutes to make the drive. So if I have, I'll try to group my appointments based on city, but the age of the person or something like that has no bearing on it.
Very good. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Otherwise, you're driving way too much for no reason. Makes sense. Excellent. So, just are you building your own agency, Henry? Are you interested in that, or are you what is your plan? What are your goals personally, agency wise?
Yeah, so starting to build the agency now. So agency goal is going to be 300,000 by end of December. Right now, we're getting some really good guys going through the pipeline right now. We've already got a couple killers out in the field that are about to start producing a lot of volume for themselves. So we're putting the systems in place and getting things lined up for 300,000 a month by end of December.
That is fantastic. Those are very good goals. What about personal?
Personal production right now, I mean, my drop dead's 50. That's just like the expectation that I have for myself. Last month, August, did my personal best so far, which is just shy of 62, 61 and some change. Um, uh,
And you only started 4 months ago.
yeah, June was my first full month. So my first full month, I did 50,000 and a little bit. It was just a little over 50, and then I've kind of been incrementally going up from there.
What do you tell people that don't believe that this is real? There's something wrong with this because the numbers are.
I've honestly, I haven't had anybody tell me that they don't believe what it is. I'm sure there's people out there that don't believe it. And to them, I would offer them a screenshot of the deposits into my bank account. I mean, you know, I'm perfectly skeptical too. I was very skeptical when I first started because I had an experience in the past with an MLM, and you know we won't say names, but it was a wonderful learning opportunity. A lot of people in FFL came from this MLM, so it was a wonderful learning opportunity for I'm sure everyone that was involved, and at the same time, pretty much no one actually made money there. So I wouldn't change it for the world, but I also had a pretty bad taste in my mouth. So when I came here, it was I was very very skeptical, and so if anybody else is skeptical, I'd say I was there. You know, it's no one is sitting here saying it's easy, especially not me or you. You know, but it is very simple.
It is.
There's nothing complicated about buying leads and sitting in the appointments and offering them products that they requested information on. It's all very simple.
That's right. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up pretty soon, and I want to know a couple more things. So how do you? Of course, you're close. You're mentioning that like you had like a month of 60,000. Then I think you took some vacation. You went to Italy. Is that right?
I was in Italy, yeah.
Very good. So how good does that feel that you go have those huge months of like I can just go take some time off, come back and just do it and enjoy my life there and do that.
Well, I mean, it was prior to leaving, it was already, you know, an awesome, like, oh, this is great. You know, I'm going to get to go to Italy. This is fun. But the thing that I still haven't wrapped my head around it yet was I had, you know, I didn't stay at the Four Seasons and drive a Rolls Royce around, but I had a very nice trip to Italy. And I came back with more money in my bank account than when I left. And that was, I still can't wrap my head around that. I had submitted quite a bit of business prior to leaving. And so as I was out there, it started to issue pay and the deposits started to roll in. And it was a really surreal experience.
That is fantastic. Where in Italy did you go?
I was in about an hour and a half south of Milan. And then we took a train to Venice.
Oh my God. When you say we, was it you and your girlfriend? Wife?
My fiance and I, yeah. And then we met with a bunch of friends out there. But we just flew out, just us.
Man, I bet it was a fantastic time.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I've been to a couple places in Europe, but never Italy. So, you know, getting to wake up in and it was harvest season too. So waking up in the Italian countryside, drinking coffee with like tractors of grapes going by, it was great.
Wow. Living the dream, The cool
Yeah, it's
thing.
a rough life, but somebody's got to live it.
Did you submitted your time off request a couple of weeks in advance?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty good friends with the boss, so.
Man, that's amazing. That's I think in that personally, I'm thinking that that's one of the best things that we have. The fact that we can control our time, go travel, do the things that we want to do, and come back and buy leads, call them, set the appointments, go to their houses, help them out, get paid, repeat. Right? So that's amazing. Very happy that you got to do that and come back and see your bank account like being just as fine or even better than when you left before, because that doesn't happen very often.
No, that's I'm gonna have it's gonna be an adjustment period. Getting used to that, that's for sure.
I know. So last question for you: how do you challenge yourself to be at your best every time that you can go out on the field, Henry?
I mean, those that know me know that I'm just naturally like I'm a very competitive type A person to a fault many times. So I often have to kind of just, you know, take a breather and relax. I think that's what I'm working on the most, because I'd be, you know, sleeping an hour a night if I didn't have my fiance to keep me sane. I think on bad days, and I was talking about this with someone earlier. On bad days, I remind myself two things, which is A, um, you know, I'm out here serving families, so it's inappropriate of me to think of myself on a bad day. It's more appropriate to be disappointed in myself that I didn't actually serve anyone. You know, these are people that request information, and I haven't gotten a death claim yet, but I've got enough stories and I've seen enough in the very short amount of time that I've been here that I know that this is very real. And I'm doing a disservice to the families if I don't protect them with a policy. So I try to let the ego go and not make it about myself. And then on kind of the total flip side of that, very much about myself. On a bad day, I just remember even a bad day, I'm making more money than I've ever made at any other job. So is it really a bad day?
Is it really a bad day? No, man, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Fantastic. How do you challenge your team to perform to get to that $300,000 by the end of the year? How are you going to challenge them, or how are you challenging them already?
So right now, we're small. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to do for my team is just to lead from the front. It's going to be impossible of me to set high expectations for the team if I don't have ridiculously high expectations of myself. My management style at this point in time, I try to be very hands off. If somebody needs help, if they need assistance, they know they can call me, they know they can ask. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be out in the field and I'm going to be leading from the front. And you guys, whatever their goals are, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that they're hitting it. And that's it. I'm just leading from the front and assisting them where they need it.
Excellent. Very good. And how do you challenge your clients when they are kind of hesitant about making that move? I know that you're going to challenge the guy tomorrow that's been procrastinating for 9 years, right? But how do you usually challenge your clients when they start giving you those rejections in order to make sure that they have that protection in place?
It depends. If I'm sitting with a really wealthy client or someone that has an enormous amount of coverage in place already, or just someone who, sure, everyone could use another policy, but in a situation like that, you don't absolutely need another policy if you've already got a ton of coverage in place, or if you've got $10 million in the bank account, or whatever it is. There's always a way that we can utilize life insurance, but you're not gonna suffer immensely if you don't have it. So in those cases, I kind of just accept it. I push a little less, but for families that truly need it. And I was working with a client over the weekend who her income was extremely low, and she was making $25 a month, she was putting $25 a month into savings, and she was in her early 70s, and she had no money in savings other than about $100, and so we're looking at a very small policy. It was about $30 a month. And she was telling me that she didn't need it. And on that, I did not accept no for an answer on that. I said, look, you can't expect me to believe that you're going to save $5,000, that you're going to need to save $25 every single month without fail for the next 16 and a half years. And if you do that for 16 and a half years, you'll have $5,000. And that means that for the next 16 and a half years, you're not going to touch a single penny. So is it realistic that she is going to do that if she's 73 and has $100 saved? Absolutely not. And she really just kind of needed it. And I wasn't like callous to her, but I was very blunt with her. And I think she saw that and she understood that. So we got her the policy on those situations where it's just their instinct is to say no, just because that's human nature. Is when somebody's trying to like get you to sign up for something, you got to say no. But there's really no legitimate reason why you shouldn't sign up for this. Those are the ones where I feel most obligated to do my job. I will round down the policy to the smallest size to where they say yes, because I really don't care at that point about commission or anything like that. It's just like, look, you really need something in place, so let's make this as cheap as it needs to be for you to get it.
how good does it feel when they get those policies? When they go through, yeah, you're right, let's get it, and you know that you're making a huge difference for their family, because without that, you know that how good does that feel for you?
It's the most rewarding part of the job that I've experienced so far. I'm not sure how I'll feel when I get a death claim, because that's going to be a very bittersweet moment. But at this point in time, it's the most rewarding thing. You know, after we got her signed up for the policy, her Domino's pizza arrived, and she goes, "Oh, stay and let's eat." So I had some pizza with her, and we chatted. It was great.
That is awesome. That's truly remarkable. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here today, Henry, for you to join me. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing all your knowledge. I know that someone of the people that joined earlier during the live, or we're gonna keep having this one on FFL State, so people can go back and find it and look at it. There's a ton of value in this call with you, with only 4 months with Family First Life, and that's what I'm trying to translate to a lot of people, that brand new people can be very successful if they have that work ethic, as you mentioned before, and Andy Paulos mentioned it as well. This is not hard. It's not that it's easy, but it's simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy to replicate and to do that. Since you are building a business, if someone wants to work with you, Henry, how can they reach you?
So they can give me a call. My direct line is going to be 541-788-8123. They can call or text anytime.
Excellent. So last challenge for you. How's your Spanish?
Un poquito.
Un poquito. Okay. So the one phrase that I always make, well, the last couple of them try to pronounce. We'll see if you can pull it off. Is it si no es ahora?
Si no es ahora.
¿Cuándo?
¿Cuándo?
Desafía este momento.
Desafía este momento.
Very good. If it's
Did
not
I say that right?
that you did it actually.
I don't know what
I
just said.
You did very well. I think you did better than Andy. Desafía. So basically, what it means is that if it's not now, when, challenge this moment. And it's about challenging the now. It's not like a challenging yourself. It's a challenge every moment that you have. That's what we're trying to do here. Like how we're challenging to expose ourselves. This for me to be out live on Instagram is a challenge to myself. But to bring other people to share your knowledge, to share what we can do here to help other people. That's why this Instagram Live is being created. And once again, I really want to thank you for taking the time for joining me on the episode 3. You're fantastic, absolutely terrific. I hope you had a good time. I look forward to meeting you someday in person, and just talking about life a little bit. How about that?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm humbled and honored. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to meeting you as well.
Oh man, an absolute pleasure. You have a good rest of your day. Take care, and then we'll talk about Italy next. When I go, I'm gonna ask you for some tips.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
We'll talk soon. Take care.
Henry, thank you for having me.